Hello, grade 6. This is the math video for lesson 2-2, which is on page 60, 61, 62, and 63. Your assignment's going to be the worksheet 2-2. But what we're going to do in this video is we're going to go through the stuff that's in the textbook. And hopefully when you see how that works, it'll make the worksheet relatively easy. So start by opening your books to page 60. Pause this video if you need to. Pause it if you need to until you get it open, and then rejoin me. Okay, welcome back, sixth graders. You should be on page 60 and 61 where it says making a prediction or making predictions. Basically, making a prediction is making a guess about the future, isn't it? But in math class, sometimes it means looking at a table or a graph and trying to figure out where it's headed if we continue the data going into the future. What do I mean by that? Well, let's take a look at a graph up here on the board. If I put a line that looks like this, and if I put numbers on this graph like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6, and if I put some more numbers over here, 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, and 70, and I say to you, that this on the left side represents amount of money that somebody's earned doing chores around the neighborhood. And I said that this represent days of working at those chores. Hopefully you can see that whoever it is that we're talking about, on day 1, they had about $10. And on day 2, they have a little bit more than $20. And on day 3, they have a little bit less than $30. And on day 4, they have about, I'm going to say that's about $37. If I said to you, predict how much money they would have on day 6, what would you say? Would you say $10? $20? $500? Well, let's draw a line, a dotted line going straight up from this 6. And then let's continue this line with another dotted line. Approximately in the way in which it's heading, right? And where do those two lines meet? They meet right here. And if I take that straight across as best as I can, what value is there? I'd say it's about 58 or 59 or 57, somewhere in that range. So somebody could say that I predict that on day 6, the person's going to have about $58 in their pocket from doing chores. And that's kind of what this lesson's about. Let's look at the first example about the Statue of Liberty. It says, this table shows the time it takes Kyle to climb the Statue of Liberty. Make a line graph and predict the total time it will take to climb all 354 steps to the top. Well, if you look at the graph, Actually, there's a table there first, isn't there? In 10 minutes, he did 275 steps. In 8 minutes, he did 210 steps. In 6 minutes, he did 163 steps, and so on. They took that table and turned it into a graph below. And then they did the same thing I did. You see those dotted lines? One coming up from about 13 minutes, and one coming directly from the line graph. And where they met, if you go straight across to the other side, you'll notice that's about 354 steps on the left-hand side. And so they're predicting that it's going to take Kyle about 13 minutes to climb to the top of the Statue of Liberty. Go to the next page. where they talk about something called scatter plots. Scatter plots display two sets of data on the same graph. Like a line graph, scatter plots are useful for making predictions because they show trends in data. Trends in data. If the points on a scatter plot come close to lying on a straight line, the two sets of data are somewhat related. So look at what we've got here. We've got a scatter plot that's talking about women's 100-meter butterfly times. And if you look at the bottom of the graph, it says 68, 72, 76, 80, 84, and so on. Those are years in which the Olympics took place: 1968, 1972, 1976, 1980, 1984. Notice the Olympics only happens every 4 years, every 4 years. And the vertical axis on the left side is showing us that the time is getting smaller and smaller because women are getting faster and faster at this event. So for example, in 1968, it took them about 65 seconds to do the event. But in the year 2000, it only took them about, I'm going to say 58 seconds. So the time's dropped about 7 seconds since 1968 to the year 2000. Okay. What would you predict for the year 2012? So notice how they continued that line. And in 2012, if you go straight across, that's about 54 seconds. And that's what they wrote on your page. Look at number 4 at the bottom. Number 4 at the bottom. They are looking for a prediction for 2006. For 2006. How are we going to do that? The problem says the graph shows the sales in billions of dollars of salty snacks like potato chips and pretzels for several years. If the trend continues, what's going to be the sales in 2006? Well, in order to do that, we might need to draw our own version of the table as best as we can. So that's what I'm about to do here. They started with the year, 95, I guess, right? So that's what I'm going to do. 95, 96, 97, 98, 99, 2000. We got to go all the way up to 2006, right? Oh boy, they're going by 1 year each. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So right out here, that's going to be 2006, and you can't even see that on the screen. Now, up the side, they started with 16, then 17, then 18, then 19, then 20, 21, and 22. And those numbers, be careful, represent billions of dollars. Billions of dollars. So our first dot for the year 1995 is about right here. Our second dot, a little bit higher. Our third dot drops a little bit in 97, not much, just a little bit. And then all of a sudden in 98, it goes almost to 18 billion. So it goes way up here. And then 99, it goes to 18.5 billion. That's about right here. In the year 2000, it's almost exactly 19 billion. Okay, so what's going on there? What's happening? Well, if we continue the line all the way out, watch what I do. I'm putting that dotted line in again. Hopefully you can see that. I think you can. Yep. If we continue this line out like that, where is it going to hit this line? Right there. And what is that amount? If I go straight across, I get about 22 billion. Does that make sense? Let's go on to number 5. Next page. Someone named Maka has been training for several weeks for cross-country tryouts. His progress is shown in the graph at the right. To make the team, he must be able to run 1 mile in less than 8 minutes. If the trend continues, will Maka make the team? Explain. Well, look at the graph, everybody. Week 1, he ran it in about 12 minutes. Week 2, it was between 11 and 12 minutes. Week 3, it was about 11 minutes. Week 4, it was about 10 minutes. Week 5, it was about 9.5 minutes. And week 6, it was about 8.5 minutes if you use the numbers that are off to the left. So what do you think is going to happen in week 7? Well, based on the trend, I think he's going to be somewhere around 7 minutes, maybe 7.5 minutes. So my answer for that would be yes. My explanation? He seems to be getting better every week. Look at the next one, number 6. The line graph shows public school teacher salaries for the past few years. If the trend continues, about what will the average salary be in 2005? Now be careful with this graph. When you look at the numbers at the bottom of the graph, notice they're not going by ones. The first year is 1985, then 1989, then 1993, then 1997, and then 2001. They're increasing each time by 4 years, aren't they? So, look at the numbers that represent salaries. In 85, the teachers made $23,000. In 2001, the teachers were making $44,000. Seems like it's going up, right? The question is, how much? How much? Okay, let's see if we can create a graph for that. Let's see, we're starting at 85, 89, 90, what would that be, 93, 97, and 2001, and we want to go to 2005, don't we? That's what it said. We want to go all the way to 2005. Okay, and the salary was anywhere from 23 to 44. So how would I do that? Well, maybe we'll put 20, 25, 30, 35, 40, 45, and 50. Now our first dot needs to be at 23,000. 23,000 would be about right here. 1985, 23,000. Our second dot needs to be at 44,000. So right out here, 44,000. That would be about right here. Because it's got to be above the year 2001, right? It's got to be above that, and it's got to be across from 44,000. Now, if we draw that line in and keep it going, now we're going to take a line and bring it up from 2005, and we're going to go across from 2005. What amount is that? Because that's what the problem's talking about, right? Salary in 2005. I'd say it's bigger than 45, but slightly less than 50,000. So I'm going to, remember, it's not billions of dollars anymore. It's thousands of dollars this time. So I'd say it was about $48,000 or $49,000. About $48,000 or $49,000. Let's go on to the next one, number 7. Use the internet or another source to find a real-life example of a line graph. Write a description of what the line graph displays and extend the graph to show where the data will be in the future. We're not going to do that right now, but we are going to create a graph on the board that talks about something else. What if these were still years? They're still years, and these are amounts of money, the cost of buying a pair of blue jeans. Let's just pick that. The cost of buying a pair of blue jeans. And let's say in 1985, the cost of blue jeans was $20. In 1989, they were $22. 93, they were $25. 97, let's say they were $27. And 2001, let's say they were about $29. Based on that, what price do you think blue jeans are going to be in 2005? Well, for me, I'd bring this line up a little bit, and then I'd take these and try to extend them out until they meet. And then this spot where these two lines meet, I'd go straight across. And I think my prediction would be about $32 because it's between 30 and 35. So in this case, the price of blue jeans in 2005, I might predict them to be $32. Let's go to the next one. Number 8, we're supposed to make a line graph of the data. Line graph of the data. How do I do that? Well, the data is comparing two things. It's comparing years to numbers of nations. And the years are starting with 1948 and going all the way up to the year 2000. But they are going every 4 years. Do you see that? Every 4 years. So I'm going to put my 1948 right here. And my next one's going to be 1952. And my next one's going to be 1956. And the next one's going to be 1960. And then 1964. I think I'm still doing it right. Yep. 68, 72, 76, 80, 84, 88, 92. How much bigger do I need to go? I need to go to 96 and then the year 2000. So way out here, this is 2000. This is 1996, 1992, and so on. Now, how about the numbers of nations? They're anywhere from 59 to 199. So I'm going to start here with 50. And these are nations. And down here, of course, it's years. So let's go, let's see. How about this will be 60, 70. I don't know if I'm going to have enough room. If I've got to get all the way up to 200, yeah, I don't think that's going to make it. I'm going to go with this one as 80. No, let's go by 20s. I'm going to I'm going to go by 20s. So that makes this 90, 110, 130, 150, 170, 190, and I think it's 210 would be all the farther we'd need to go. Yeah. And then we're going to start putting in dots. Our first dot's going to be at 59. That'd be about here. And then 69, that'd be about here. 72 and 83 are our next dots. There's 72. 83 would be, boy, that seems to be a pretty straight line. 93 and 112. 93 and 112. And then our next dots is 121. 121, that's about right here. And then something unusual happens. Let's see, I better write these in yet. 68, 1972, 1976, 1980, 1984, and 1986. Did I miss a year? Oh, 84, 88. Apparently, there we go. Okay, there wasn't an 86. Okay. So then 76, there's only 92 because less nations came. Then 80, there was only 80 nations that came. Boy, that's an interesting drop. And then it went 140. So all of a sudden, boom, we're up again. 140. And then 159, 169. 159 would be about here. 169 would be about here. And then 197, 199. 197, 199. So the graph is looking like this. So there's our line graph. And then it says, predict the number of nations that are going to participate in 2008. Well, that means we're going to have to go further, aren't we? We're going to have to do one more and then two more slots. Well, I think it's going to be up here somewhere. I think we're going to be about right there. Based on what's happening here, this will be 2004. This will be 2008. I think it's going to end up there somewhere, so I'm going to call it 220 for number 9. But maybe you'd say 210 or 220, somewhere in that range. We're going to stop at that point because, boy, this video is getting long. Ask me if you have questions. Bye.